And WAF finals are boring as shit. Bitch, all you want. One guy comes out on top. Okay, let's change the rule set. What's up, guys? So after reading the comments, this might be my unpopular opinion, but we're going to discuss the rule set for super matches. But hang around, and I'm going to tell you how we should find out who the overall number one in the world is. First, let's talk about the rule set. You got the rigid rules, strict rules. You got WAF, IFA, PAL, right? Then you got the hybrid, which is ArmWars, which is running fouls, but still similar to a WAF setup. And you have the Wild Wild West, WAL, basically just let it all go. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of talk about the refereeing and how bad the refs are and how these refs are horrible for the sport. It's not the refs' fault. As long as they call the rules correctly, the ref's doing their job. If you have a problem, blame the promoter. He's the one who set up the rules. If you don't want to see the matches in that way, blame the athlete for accepting those terms. But you can't blame the referee if they're calling the rules correctly. They're just doing their job. Now, that being said, if they call them incorrectly, bitch all you want. All right, so there's a lot of complaint from this last weekend about the rule set, or, even my left-hand matches, slip and lose in position, intentional slips. People are like, well, that should be a straps. Or, Matt's elbow fouls. Well, those were micro fouls. The thing is, it's rigid rules. It's PAL. Now, I'm gonna stick there with that. I'm gonna say that part right there. It's PAL, it's rigid rules. But if you've been around arm wrestling for a long time, prior to ArmWars or prior to WAL, those were the only rules. So everyone who's arm wrestled, all arm wrestled under those rules. It's only when things change do we start getting away with shit, right? Matt Mask arm wrestled the Canadian Nationals. Guess what rule set they use? Rigid rules. Unified Nationals, every Nationals, AAA Nationals, every Worlds. I've been doing this for 32 years. ArmWars been around for like 15. WL's been around since 2015 or 14. So there's a lot of complaining going on about the sport not ever going to be able to grow under these rules. And I do kind of agree as far as the entertainment value. If you're gonna have super matches, you wanna see those matches end with pins. You don't wanna see them end with an intentional slip and losing. You wanna see a strap match. You wanna see the guy get pinned. You don't wanna see small little fouls. But those are the rules that we agreed to arm wrestle. Now, is that our fault? Or is it the promoter's fault for picking a less entertaining format? So also, I was going to stay away from this topic as much as possible, but there's so much going on right now back and forth with the Devon Larratt match and the rules, right? Well, he agreed. It's in his contract. He agreed to these rules. Whether it's in the contract or not, that's what we're hearing and that's what we're seeing. So you got this whole arm wrestling community going, okay, well, why didn't he just arm wrestle under the rules that the contract is? Well, then the same arm wrestling community is like, well, Matt shouldn't have lost that match because it was a micro foul, or, I should have got the strap. We're the ones who agreed to arm wrestle under those rules. So we're doing what you guys are getting mad at Levan for not doing. You can't have it both ways. You either want people to follow the rules they agreed to, or you don't. This is crazy. So for the athletes out there that want to compete under rigid rules or strict rules, there's a place for you. There's PAL, there's WF, there's IFA, there's all of your national championships, there's EAF, all of those events. Now, you as a viewer, if you prefer not to watch your favorite athlete compete under that rule set, then you need to let them know. Like, listen, I don't want to watch a pay-per-view of you losing on fouls or somebody not being pinned. Now, here at the Monster Factory, I 100% agree. Running fouls should be used. That's why we chose to do it in our last event, and we're going to continue to use those rules. For an entertainment value, it is way more entertaining to watch matches actually progress and keep going. It's just you have to call those rules correctly. If you cannot be saved by an elbow foul if you're being pinned, that's a runner and you lost. You have to win the match once you foul. Now, if it's not a small infringement, but if the elbow's off the back of the pad, but you're about to get pinned, should that still save you? Hell no, I don't care how big a foul it was. You were losing, you're trying to get out of the match. I mean, you just got to follow the rules that are in front of you. Now, I'm a big believer, and I've watched arm wrestling for 30 plus years. I'm in my 32nd year of doing this, and WAF finals are boring as shit. unless you have an athlete that you're cheering for. But half of those matches, and I've heard it from every promoter in the book saying that half those matches end on fouls or false starts or fouling referee grips or whatever. And as a viewer, you don't want to see that. And as an arm wrestler, I want to see arm wrestling continue to grow. So from a super match format, a one-on-one pay-per-view series type events, I feel like we need to use running fouls. But if we're not doing that, we cannot blame the referees. The referees are doing their job. They're hired to call the rule set. Like I said, the only time us as viewers or spectators or pullers should be upset is if they don't enforce the rules correctly. All right, so here's my solution to how to find out the true number one in the world. Let's call it the Triple Crown. First off, you gotta prove yourself under the WAL format. Wild, Wild West. Let's just get crazy with some arm wrestling. Then, let's do it under strict, rigid rules. And if your top two guys win, one wins here and one wins here, let's do the hybrid, let's do ArmWars. Partially WAL, partially rigid PAL rules. I mean, really, if you win that, you can truly call yourself the overall number one in the world, right? But how much fun would that be for the viewer? If you got to watch your two favorite guys go at it. One guy comes out on top. Okay, let's change the rule set. Oh, wow. The other guy, roles reversed. He came out on top. Now let's do it again. Sounds like fun to me. Now let's see what you guys got to say. Drop down in the comments and give me your opinion. What do you think about that? Also, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications.